Hi, I'm Rich Baker from Rollin' and Riches, and this is Improv Breakdown.
I do that for the audience. I do it on their behalf.
Yeah.
And if I cannot, they will go, well, he tried.
Like suggest I was that
many different things.
My hands. It's like
Yeah.
yay!
Welcome to Improv Breakdown. I'm very excited to have a man who's well, what can I say? Owns a theater, owns a company, tours, performs, teaches, and just has a killer smile. Terje Brevik, thank you so much for being on the Breakdown.
Thank you so much for having me, and also such a great introduction, because two of those are not correct.
What, you don't own a theater?
I do not own a theater. I've been.
What do you?
I have my own improv school, and I've been in charge of the founding father of an improv community here in Oslo, which more or less has its own theater.
The founding father of a community. Oh man! Right away, let's get into this. So you don't run a theater, but you run a theater-like organization.
Yes and no. It is complicated. So in
Break it down.
In 2015, I took the initiative to form an organization that was named Improv. And that was, until that point, it was just a group of nerdy improv people. And I say nerdy with love because I love nerds.
As opposed to all those cool improv people.
Yeah. Isn't it funny though? Like, we walk around thinking we're the cool kids, and we're all so damaged. It's ridiculous.
Europe must be different than America, because I don't know anyone who does improv here who thinks they're cool. At least I certainly don't. We're
really?
all damaged nerds.
Maybe it's just us. Yeah. So we started. So that was in 2015, and we had. This is very democratic, and we elected a board, and then that board, and I was the leader of that board from for the first 4 years until 2019.
Okay.
And we just grew like crazy since then. We met maybe once a week. We did maybe a show a month, and now there's. Honestly, I lost count of how many workshops per week that are open, free for all, different levels. There's the Oslo Improv Festival. Norwegians have difficulties with V's and W's, which you may notice. Festival.
You pronounce it however you want to. We'll get it. We'll get it.
And that community, and it is very much a community, has just grown and grown and grown. And eventually I was like, hey, you know what? I want to do this even more professionally. So I founded my own improv school, which is this one. And I've been teaching, building a curriculum, teaching classes, having guests over, and so on and so on and so on. And it's just really, really fun.
Excellent. So, oh man, I want to get into all that, but let's start. Let's back it up for a moment. And physically, okay. You're such a yes and. You're like, well, all right then. I'm too close to the camera. When did your timeline and improv first intersect?
Oh wow! I probably could point it to the exact date if I go through old emails. But
we don't need that. I need numbers, man. Numbers.
Yes. 2012, late 2012.
Okay.
A friend of mine, she wanted to take an improv class. I had no idea what it was. My thing was live concerts and music and getting drunk on weekends or weekdays.
Okay.
And I was making a living as an IT engineer doing consulting work. So imagine this, just a very formal blue suit, not a tie, but very, very, very formal. Or maybe not that formal. I don't know. I might be painting a wrong picture here. Anyways, she wanted to sign up for a beginner's class, but she didn't want to do it alone because, as you know, they're scary.
Yeah. And
so she asked me, and I was like, yeah, that sounds interesting, whatever that thing is. And then she said, let's sign up now. And I was like, no, I can't, because there's this concert I also want to go to and blah, blah, blah. And eventually she got tired of asking. And then she said, hey, fuck you. I'm going to sign up for this myself. And she did. And the next time I met her, I said, so how was this improv thingy? And up until that point, our conversation was like normal, I guess.
Okay.
And then I asked her how this improv class was, and she just went, oh, it was so good. And she was like this beautiful burst of energy and joy and happiness and playfulness and like all the positive things you can use to describe that. She had like magic almost.
Yeah.
And that is like, ooh, I need to check this thing out.
I'll have what she's having. Yeah.
Yes, pretty much. Yeah, it was when Harry met Sally, just in Norway, and it was dark because it was the fall. And so yeah, but I do remember like my first class, terrifying. Like the brain really sometimes just works against you, and by that I mean like it tries to take care of you. Sometimes a little bit too much.
Yeah.
Because like. I don't remember anything from the first class except the fun part, but I do remember the walk up to that theater where my brain was like, this is not for you. You do IT, you do music and concerts, and you know everything about movies and shows and whatnot. Not theater. This is not for you. Oh, wow. And I almost turned around like so many times because my brain kept trying to tell me like, this is terrifying. Everyone else is probably super talented. They're actors, they're stand-up comedians, whatever. And hey, they were just like you and me.
Yeah. Oh man, I love. So you didn't take the class with your friend. You took it after her, right? Yeah. So you were really alone on that first class.
Oh yeah. And then it was sort of what's the English word for that? That was I guess that was a butterfly spreading its wings.
Yeah.
Let's use big words. Hey, it's Thursday. It's Wednesday. Let's use big words on a Wednesday.
Big words.
She was the butterfly in the Amazon.
Yeah.
And that sort of started this whole chain of events that made me realize that I didn't really enjoy the work I was doing. It was okay. It wasn't terrible. It wasn't great. It was just like.
Yeah. It was like stable, but not interesting.
Yeah. So very long story short, quit my job, did the early midlife crisis thingy of backpacking Asia for like 6 months.
Oh, wow.
Came back to Oslo and then got a bachelor's degree as it's called Drama and Theater Communications. It pretty much means like drama, and this is a word I can never get right. Maybe today. Drama pedagogy.
Oh, pedagogy. Pedagogy. Yeah. I'm actually not sure how to pronounce that word. Pedagogy. Pedagogiogy. You get with teaching.
Other words that start with those three letters, for sure. Such as a pediatrician. But yeah. And that was I got that degree 2016, and since I've been one of those full-time improvisers.
Wow. So you went from never doing any improv to taking your first class to getting a degree and then making it your full-time thing.
Yes.
Wow.
Very much so.
So, at least in the U.S., historically, like, I know very few people who are ever been able to be full-time improvisers. Maybe now it's a little different, but like when I was starting out, the turn of the century, like, it was just, even the people who had names, big instructors, like they still had temp jobs or day jobs because there just wasn't enough paying work. So to become like a full-time improviser, was that really, really hard, or was there more precedent set for that?
Well, it is a ridiculous amount of hard work. Like it's just silly how much hard work it is. And yes, thank you. 2 legs to stand on. One is the improv for improv part, and the other one is, of course, the improv for the non-improv part, which is applied improv or the corporate improv or anything that is not improv for stage.
Yeah. So like helping IT people or customer service people or stuff like that, right?
Oh yeah, definitely, yeah. And as you know, like these tools can be applied to anything, anywhere. But it's been a lot of hard work trying to figure out what sells.
Yeah.
Because sometimes you can use the word improv, but most of the times you cannot.
Yeah.
And some words like play, most likely you cannot go to a company and say, hey, we have this exercise thingy and it's play. And they're like, well, we don't play. We do insurance here. So
We don't do that. We don't play.
Yeah.
It's
yeah.
That's an interesting, and I love the idea of play and the. I think companies need play, but like I said, we can't package it that way. Do you feel that before you got in improv that you had a sense of play, or did improv kind of introduce that into your life?
I definitely think I had a sense of play, but I think improv's helped me sort of rediscover play.
Yeah.
Or rediscover how much I needed play in my life.
Yeah.
Because it is one thing is to have that, and one thing is to have that sense of play or that urgency, I guess the word is, to play.
Yeah.
But finding people to play with, different thing. Different thing.
Truth.
Yeah.
Boy, howdy.
Yeah. I do believe, though, that is this, like the play thing, it's so needed in the corporate life.
Oh,
but
yeah.
We need to find other ways to market it. Off tangent, I believe the word is, after quitting my IT job, my consultant job, and going back to school, I got a call from my former employer who asked me if I had a chance to go back for 2 weeks to help out a customer that I used to work with.
Uh-huh.
And I said yes, because the pay was amazing for 2 weeks.
Nice.
For a broke student. Yeah. Definitely. And I do remember coming back there, and it was a very corporate environment, very polite, very, some might say, boring as hell. And by that I'm not. Let me redefine. Boring in the sense of most people there didn't seem to have any interest in you as a person whatsoever. If that makes sense.
Yeah, it does.
Hey. And that is pretty much the start and the end of your conversation with that person for that day. But on this day, with this 2 weeks, one of the people there, she came over to me and she said, "Hey," almost like a drug deal going on. I was like, "Hey, I heard you've been doing this, you're taking this acting theater education thingy." I was like, "Yeah. Do you have any games we could play?"
Oh.
So her and I and another guy, we just found an empty meeting room, and then we did just simple warm up stuff, just simple games, fun and game stuff, and they loved it so much, and it was such it's a big word Wednesday, such an honor to bring that into not their life, that's a bit too big, but their work day.
Yeah.
And for the rest of those long 2 weeks, I could see one of the guys there just walking up to my desk, but chickening out. I can see him in a corner of my eyes, oh, he want to play, and I was like, oh no, he gave up.
No.
Yeah.
Man.
Going back to the living off of improv.
Yeah.
I can give you my very simple analysis.
Oh, please.
And it might sound a bit harsh, but that is not my intention. This is the sum of my experiences so far when it comes to corporate improv. I need both hands because I do like to do this.
Great. Yeah, of course.
One, if you go to a company and you say that, hey, I have an improv exercise that is a great exercise for communication, they will go, ooh, no, we cannot do that. If you go to them and say, hey, I have a great exercise based from improv theater that is a great communication exercise, nah, not interested. But if you go and say, hey, I have this great exercise that is about communication, we're interested. So take away those words that terrifies them and use the word that they recognize and resonate with.
Nice.
And adding to that, and this is where it gets slightly offensive for some, I don't know. It's a lot of work, and a lot of improvisers can be very lazy and just sit around and expect everything to come to them, but you have to go to the customers and you have to do this on their terms.
Yeah.
My theory, my take on these things.
No controversy for me. I as a former lazy improviser who's slightly less lazy now, I 100%. I'll ask your opinion on this because I've always kind of had this idea that part of the reason that improv and laziness go hand in hand is because we just show up, do a show, and walk away. There's no striking the set. There's no costumes, there's no lines to memorize, there's no cue to cue, all the stuff that, in theater that takes so much work. Obviously, we work hard in class to be able to do what we do, but it can be a very lazy art form in some ways. I just wear what I'm wearing off the street, do a show, and then I'm done. And then, whatever, I'm a performer.
Yeah. And also, just let me be clear, improv should also be that for everyone who likes to do that thing. But I think the moment you step up to either performance-wise or having this as a full-time job or whatever you define as stepping up, that needs to quote a friend of mine, if you're drafted for the top league, if you put in all the work to get drafted for the top team in the top league, you don't stop practicing. You practice more and you practice harder to adapt to that new environment. And I believe that to be true for what we do as well.
Yeah.
And like the Jay Sukov, who talks about how the two parts you can control of a set, it's the opening and the ending.
Yeah.
And how we know this, and that is the one part we can control, but we don't ever practice that. Which is so simple, but also we don't because we're lazy. And I think it's all being lazy, just to be clear. And to wrap the corporate thing up, here's the here is the sad truth when it comes to living. Is it, by the way, is it living off or living from improv?
I've either one sounds good to me. I've never heard either, but I like it.
Okay, let me rephrase. Here's how to make a living from improv. And you probably heard this before. You cannot make a living from improv. Or off improv. Anyways.
Sure.
English
I understand everything you're saying. I like that you're saying it in ways that are different. So keep going, man. Keep going.
My very sad but simple breakdown. People say that you cannot make a living from improv. I would disagree because people out there are making good money from homeopathy.
Yeah.
If they can make money, a living, they can make a good living from homeopathy, which is just water and sugar. We should be able to make a living doing something that is real, even though it's made up, most of it. But still, the tools and those exercises and those mindset, it's real. It is something, but we don't know how to sell it. And that is, I think that is the main obstacle.
Oh, dude, 100%. I really just learned marketing for the first time this year, and I've been getting into learning about it, and which is I credit to a lot of my success during COVID and whatnot. And what I didn't know about marketing compared to what I know is insane. But even more so, it wasn't even that I didn't know it, is that I used to be very anti-marketing. I was like, I'm an artist, man. It's I don't do that business stuff. I would go into businesses, but I would be like the rebel, and now I'm like, oh, I have a marketable skill that will help you. Let's bridge that gap like what you're talking about.
Yeah. And please, I don't want to come off as preachy. People do
preach, brother, preach.
Definitely. But the marketing part, super, it's so important. And just simple
so
stuff,
important.
Just your background for this, it's 95% more professional than most online improv. And I don't say that to speak badly of them.
No, of course not.
But it's those little things the whole way. Having marketing stuff, give away notebooks, have buttons, anything.
Yeah. Well, I remember, in Chicago back in the early 2000s, and I don't know if it's still like this anywhere. I mean, obviously it's not still like this because no one's on stages, but so many people would be at the I.O. Theater, this theater that people knew about around the world, and, was part of the reason why people came to Chicago. And they'd be on a Herald team or house team or whatever, and they'd be in cargo shorts and a T-shirt. You know, they'd have like a 5 o'clock shadow, and you know, they looked like slobs.
Yeah.
And you know, I think that it's part and parcel to the laziness factor, but it's also in this idea of like they weren't, you know, thinking about marketing or being a professional. They're just like, I'm an improv, whatever. I'll just show up, you know.
Yeah.
Oh,
I think
man.
also there's some I don't know if I'm using the word correctly, but like there's some latent fear in that.
Yeah.
If the word latent means what I think it does.
Yeah, I think we pronounce it latent over here, but yeah, we get it. Yeah.
Thank you. I think there's some latent fear in that because if you step up, if you dress professionally, whatever that is, people might start to take you seriously. And
Yes.
that means you need to actually deliver, whatever that means. So I think there's, and I felt that myself, as in, but if I do this, I might come off as a professional. Like, well, I am a professional.
Yep.
That is probably the best thing that could happen. So yeah,
It's taking that responsibility of going, okay, I'm gonna put on an outfit. I'm gonna, you know, show up on time. I'm gonna bring a thing. Yeah.
yeah. I had such a great moment here we had TJ Mannix, who is one of my favorite
Yeah,
improvisers.
he's
here in
great.
Oslo. Yeah, he's wonderful, and I got to take a workshop with him in San Diego where we met 2018. And then he came to Oslo and I took his workshop, of course. Nice. And I remember him coming in and then he brought a legal pad and a bunch of pens. And then he said, take as much notes as you want to or don't take any. And if you forgot your notebook, please help yourself to pen and paper. And I was like, that is a professional.
Love it.
Simple little thing just blew my. I can't remember anything from the class. I'm sorry, TJ. No,
TJ's fine. TJ gets it. TJ's watching this like, damn it!
How can I ask for you, Rich? Is like your income? Is it like, do you have like a percentage of how much is corporate, how much is improv?
Lately, almost none of it's been corporate. Very little. I did a lot of corporate stuff in Chicago, but I've been in LA for almost 7 years now, and I've done maybe 15% of my income has been corporate since I've been in LA. Yeah, so I'm getting more into that, and well, it's just to make it short. In Chicago, I was a hired gun for a lot of different, for Second City, for Comedy Sports, for all these different places. And so I did a lot of corporate work because they did the marketing and I would just show up. You know, I was a professional, but I just showed up and, you know, I did the job as opposed to talking to the clients and that kind of thing. And in LA, no one's hired me to be their gun. So all the stuff I get on my own.
Yeah. Such a luxury to have that person who do all that things for you.
Yeah, and they also take the lion's share of the money.
Well, yeah.
Yeah. You know, like, I mean, I remember, you know, in Chicago, I'd be like, man, I got paid $150 to do a corporate gig. Like, woo! You know, and then I would find out years later, like, oh, the people in charge, you know, they charged $2,000 for that gig.
Yes.
It's like,
I think this goes back to the like stepping up part in the sense of like putting value on your work and your hours and your experience and all that thing is so hard because we want this to be as available as we can. And if we go to a company and say, hey, this workshop is $200, they go like, that's nothing. We don't want to. This is probably shit.
This is probably crap. Yeah, they think it's too cheap.
Yeah, but we're too shy or too whatever to go. This is a $5,000 workshop. It is a full day, and it's the best workshop in the world. And I will prove that to you. And this might just be me though, but it feels like this is something that a lot of us struggle with.
No, I mean, it's in my experience, it's been that like what to charge. As I've heard so many stories from so many people, and I mean, I have a friend who was the booking agent for Kansas City Comedy Works, Comedy City, whatever their theater's called, and this was years ago, and he said he didn't know what he was doing, and you know, he got a company call him, and he's like, how much do you charge for this? And he was like, $800, and they were like, okay, never mind, right? And they wound up going with someone who was probably a lot worse, but who was willing to charge them, you know, $5,000 or whatever.
Homeopathy, hey.
Homeopathy. I mean, I live in LA, dude. Like people sell crystals and goat yoga, and I mean, there's all like, if you can sell
yoga class,
Yeah,
I love that.
I've never taken one.
You as the goat. It's like, okay.
I'm afraid I'd be bad.
Take my money. Oh wow.
Snuck it in there. I'll take it. Oh my god, I love this. I love this so much. What is a lesson about improv that you've learned from performing, or that you've learned in your experience as a performer, that you didn't learn like as a student? You know, something that wasn't taught to you that you kind of had to learn on your feet, that you were like, oh man, this is a really good thing. Got any examples of anything like that?
Probably. I hope. Let's see. That is a really good question, though. That is a great question. And I might just be buying time just by talking about how good that question was.
Good.
What did I learn on stage that I didn't learn in workshops? I think like a couple of like smaller things, like just fake it till you make it.
Sure. Yeah.
That 1 second on stage, even though it feels like forever, for the audience, it is just 1 second.
Yeah.
So breathe. Oh, and yes, I know the answer.
Yes.
You can check your I don't know what it's called. We call it facit, which means like the list of correct answers.
Okay. Yeah, the answer. We just call it answer sheet.
X equals 2. That's right. I think this is one of the biggest takeaways in that sense. It's the fact that the audience are cheering for you.
Yeah.
They are there because they want you to succeed, or they want to see you try. They don't care if you succeed or not. They just want to see you. This is like very much like Keith Johnstone approach, as in fail, but do it cheerfully.
Oh, I love that.
Yourself. Because if I make an attempt, I do it like metaphorically or metaphysically or whatever because of the audience. Like I do it for the audience.
Yeah.
So if I try to make up something that rhymes with apple, I do that for the audience. I do it on their behalf.
Yeah.
And if I cannot, they will go, well, he tried. If I'm able to, if I go apple, snapple, they go, oh, he did it! I did that, yes. And the one exception, of course, is if I cannot and I punish myself.
Or give up, right?
Yeah. And that is when that connection with the audience is just gone, because you make them feel insecure, and that is contagious. And the same thing also goes with bravery and courage and confidence. So yeah, it's like
even when we fail, the audience wants to know that we're in charge of that, right?
Yes. So like take them by the hand, guide them safely through that show or workshop for that matter. Take care of them, have fun with them, play with them as you would with your improv partner, and like you cannot be wrong on stage ever.
I love it.
Yeah.
Inverse of that question, is there any lesson that you were taught, like in your classes or workshops, when you were starting out, that you discovered didn't work for you, or just didn't ring true after you got on stages for a while?
Let's see. I'm sorry. I just thought of one more thing that I picked up.
Please.
I took a workshop once here in Oslo, and the teacher said, like, this stage is our playground. And I like that image of this is our playground. But at that moment, I didn't really understand what it meant. But I felt really cool saying it, like, hey guys, this is our playground. This is blah, blah, blah. And but it took me a while to realize what that means to me. And by that, it means like I get to set the rules of what is okay and what isn't in this room.
Yeah.
Meaning that if we do a show and someone does something that is not okay, like touching or using the wrong words or making those jokes we know we shouldn't ever do on stage because they're terrible and we are better than that.
Yeah.
I have the power to go, hey, this is not okay here.
Yeah.
So also the same goes with like drunken audience members. If someone is there just to destroy everything or be like disturbing, we can go, hey, don't come back after the break. We can just kick them out because it's our playground. And I guess like the last year, I've been starting to realize like the playground is a bit limiting in the sense that if I'm able to apply that mindset to, like, I can bring that playground with me, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Meaning I can have so much fun anywhere I go. I have the power to define what is okay or not for me. Yeah. And if that is not okay with me, I can just remove myself from the situation or try to correct the situation or whatever. But I get to decide. And I think that is a lot about giving yourself permission, I guess, to have fun, to not be the asshole.
And to have that agency to like go, okay, you're making it worse, so I'm either going to distance myself from you or, correct something like that. Yeah.
So it's such a fresh lesson, such a new lesson.
Yeah.
That I'm still like trying to apply it to myself in the sense that if I'm bored, hey, I have all these things, these tools, and I get to play. Like, they don't even have to know I'm playing a game with them. Let's say I'm buying a coffee, I could play a game with the person behind the counter, even they have no idea I'm doing that. If that makes sense. Like,
yeah.
Link, I cough, or well, maybe not cough these days, but you get the idea.
Yeah. But yeah, absolutely.
What was the other question again?
Where we went was great. When I teach, actually, I have what I call a no shithead rule, which is, at Second City, I taught whoever they gave me, but like when I teach my own classes, I've never had to enforce it, but I'm super comfortable with the idea of like if someone destroys anything or makes it harder for others, I have no problem saying, here's your money back, go find another improv instructor, or better yet, don't. But you're not welcome here, and I have great students, and I don't ever want to bring in any kind of negative like toxicity into my students who are awesome, right?
Yeah.
And the same thing with like how we play and everything, but just that ownership, because we were talking about how improvisers were lazy, but for me, and I think this extended to a lot of other improvisers that I knew, is this idea of like, well, I don't want to rock the boat, I don't want to hurt anyone's feelings, so I'll just let it slide, and I think we did that for way too long collectively,
Oh yeah, and I've been. This is one of those, like, I could probably talk for days about this, but the being in charge of a big community, like, certain issues will eventually show up.
Yeah.
One of those issues have been, let's just keep it generic, men.
Yeah.
Yep. And yep, pretty much. And I have done, like, looking back at it, like 5 years ago, was like, ooh, I should not have asked that person out for coffee, because they're here to do improv and they should be able to do that without someone like me, especially in a position of authority as the instructor, perhaps, or the leader of the whole thing, without me asking them out for coffee. Because they will probably get like 5, 6, 7 other equal requests as well, in addition to that. And that is, I mean, if you're there to do improv, you should be able to do that, period. And in that sense, I'm trying to find a segue into, based on that, I have made 3 rules for all my workshops. And one of them goes to, as you said, like just saying no. Mm-hmm. But saying no, oh, you want to hear the rules?
I got 3. I'm listening for 3 rules. I love
it. This is for most of my workshops. Rule number 1: take care of yourself.
Nice.
It's the physical part, as in like don't hit that table, or be careful of your back or your bad elbow or bad knee or whatever. But also, you don't have to do anything you're not comfortable doing. And a no is a no always in this space. I want this to be a safe space. But that is one thing I also realized, is that we need to practice saying no, because just knowing that you can do that is not enough. It's like knowing I could walk up to the most beautiful girl in the bar and say, "Hey, baby," I don't do that. because I don't like. I'm terrified. Yeah, but I'm pretty sure if I practice that religiously, that would be the easiest thing in the world.
Sure.
And maybe that is a terrible example. I don't know. But so what I do, and this is again back to Keith Johnstone. I practice saying have my students practice saying nope, but we do it nope, and then I count to 3. 1, 2, 3. Nope, and then I do it again. 1, 2, 3. Nope, and maybe one more time. Nope, and now we have all tried it. Now we all have experienced it, and now it's a slightly bigger chance you will actually do that if you need it.
I love it.
That's it. Rule number 2, take care of your partner. And that means like no touchy, grabby, stuffy, personal boundaries, all that stuff. Don't lift people up. Don't take their glasses. And don't use gestures and words that are that might. This is a tricky one though. Like I try to find a way of saying this that doesn't sound like it's censorship, because I'm not a fan of censorship. But also in a workshop, there are certain words you probably don't need to use.
Sure. Yeah.
Or gestures for that matter.
Sure.
So I try to find we don't need them in this workshop. We're better than that. And another way to take care of your partner is if they say no or nope, you just respect that, and then you thank them for telling you where their boundaries are, and then we can move on, or not, because a no is always a complete sentence.
That's great.
And the third rule is have fun. That's it. And then people go, but wait a minute, that's a rule. And then I, of course, as the genius I am, I'd say, well, if we're not having fun, my experience is that then we're either not taking care of ourselves or we're not taking care of our partner. When that happens, not if, that is when we stop and then we check in with our partner and check in with ourselves. Is this okay? Is it not okay? This goes a little bit back to the playground thingy. What do I need at this moment? Before we move on or not. And those are the 3 rules. And sometimes, if I'm inspired, I throw in something I stole from Andel Sudic. I can never say her name correctly. I'm sorry, Andel.
Andel Sudic, yeah.
Yeah. I took a workshop with her, and she said that she had it also like a safety rule thingy. I love it. We're kind of like people working on board an airplane. And yes. And then she said this beautiful thing that was, this is just the beginning of the conversation. This is not the end of it. That means we will make mistakes. And that is how we learn. And then when we make those mistakes, that's when we talk about these things. And that's how we learn from these things. And that's how we get to play better with each other. So, yeah.
Brilliant. Brilliant. Oh my God. I love it. I love all of this. Okay. You took your first improv class, you fell in love. At what point did you think about, I want to be a teacher, and what moves did you make to transition from just being someone who was learning improv, practicing improv, to want to teach improv?
I don't know.
Oh.
I don't know. I feel like it sort of happened by, I don't know, it probably didn't happen by itself, but I'm not sure if I have a good answer to that question.
Okay.
I spent 3 years at this one improv theater here in Oslo, and they are a professional theater. They do great stuff there. Mm-hmm. But for me, they didn't have the offer that I needed at that time, which was more stage time and I maybe teaching as well. Yeah. Maybe, I don't know. But we had formed a group, and we had our own workshops, and that is I guess that is where I started to parrot those exercises that I've been taught.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Killer.
I don't know.
That's cool. You teach, I looked through your website, you teach a lot of long forms, right? You teach Armando and the Herald, stuff like that. Do you have like a favorite long form that you practice, that you teach, that you like? Has it changed over time?
It is well. I started out my back. Like originally, I fell in love with short form improv.
Mm-hmm.
That was improv until that was improv from 2012 till 2015.
Okay.
And then I spent the summer in Chicago doing the IO Summer Intensive, and that is like door number 2, long form. I was like, oh. Which is funny because this is a side note, off tangent. I don't know how to say that.
Both sound great to me.
The reason I ended up in Chicago is pretty much the same reason I took my first improv class, because I was in Calgary doing the Loose Moose Summer School, which was super cool. And there was a woman there from South Korea, from Seoul, and she I felt so I was a bit disappointed with myself because I signed up for the Loose Moose Summer School not knowing that Keith Johnstone was still alive and teaching. He still is, by the way, teaching workshops in Calgary, and I missed that by like a week. And if I knew, I would probably be able to attend that. Anyways, she was in that workshop, and then afterwards she flew to Chicago for this improv thing there. And I was like, okay, have fun. Most likely we'll never see each other again. And then, I mean, she was in Korea and Calgary and Oslo. It's far apart.
Sure.
And then flying back like 3 weeks later. Anyways, my flight had a transfer in Chicago. My flight to Oslo was canceled. And then I had to stay the night at an airport hotel. And I did as any mature man would do to deal with the situation. I vented on Facebook. Stuck it over here. Blah, 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 blah. And then Helena, which is her name, she sent me a message like, oh, you're in Chicago. We should meet up for breakfast. So the next morning I took the blue train or whatever.
The blue line from O'Hare, yeah.
Nailed it. And then we had breakfast, and then I asked her, so, how was this improv thingy? And she had that same beautiful like burst of energy. I was like, oh, it's so good. It's and she was doing that summer intensive. I was like, ooh, I need to check this thing out.
Yeah.
And the next summer, this was 2014. Anyways, next summer I went back and we spent a whole month in Chicago, and it was pretty cool. But going back to the question, sorry, I like to talk.
No, I love it. It's good for a talk show. It helps.
True. So that was opening my long form, opening my eyes for long form, and then going back to Chicago later to go to the Annoyance, which sort of opened up more doors in a sense of like just make your own rules, do what you think is fun.
Sure.
Don't worry about this or that or formats or whatnot. And then discovered musical improv, and then we sort of stumble upon the schlong form or free form or whatever you want to call it, which is anything. Yeah. Like it's long form, but it's also short form if you want to, and everything is allowed, and it's just beautiful. And I find that to be very, very freeing. So I do teach many, many things, but it's not necessarily this will come out very wrong. I do teach many different workshops, but not necessarily because that is the things I enjoyed the most, such as the Herald. Yeah. Because I enjoy teaching it, but performing it, I don't know.
Yeah. I dig that.
Not a favorite of mine.
Yeah, I dig that. It's not a favorite of mine either.
Yeah, I can never decide if it's if it is a great learning tool or if it's a great performance format, or both, or neither.
Yeah, I mean, mileage may vary, right? Some people love it. I did it for years, and I was just like, I'm good if I never do another Herald again in my life.
Oh yeah.
Where do you see improv going? Do you see any trends with do you got any predictions for the future?
Oh, I have no idea.
Okay.
And like the main reason is the online improv.
Yeah.
Which is working so much better than I ever thought it would. And I love that. I think it's really, really cool. I think it's hard to get people who are curious about improv. Most likely, I think they are. Let me try again.
Rip, rip, rip.
Yep. I think it's harder to. I don't know how to say this. For people who haven't tried improv before, I think that making that first step is harder doing it online.
Oh, okay.
Or maybe it isn't. I don't know. I might be very wrong.
It's either this or that. Those are the options.
Black or white.
Oh my god.
No, here's my. Let's see. I forgot I have this magic. Here we go. Ooh.
Oh.
What holds for the improv future? Wow. First of all, I see Rich, like really making it into 2021.
Yes.
And when I say really making it, I mean making it even more.
Wow.
And finally being recognized not for the awesome stuff you do, but also for all those terrible things that you do.
Thank God, finally. It all comes to light.
Yeah.
Turns out he was a serial killer. Who knew?
No, where is improv going? Here's what I think is going. I think we will see, from a European perspective, a bigger variety of improv. And by that I mean the US sometimes seems very like improvise. Either it is the UCB style or it is the IO style. Maybe you have some annoyance in there somewhere. And it feels like very much that is almost dogma to a certain extent. I know that is not 100% true,
sure,
but that is where people get their training, so that sort of makes sense.
Yeah.
In Europe, it is more of a beautiful mix. Not beautiful, I should have used a different word. It is more of a mix of arts and styles and culture, because Oslo is different from Sweden, which is different from Denmark, which is different from Poland, which is different from Germany, and so on and so on and so on. And all that stuff bleeds into what you see on stage. And I taught in February, right before COVID hit. I did a show in Belgium, which was super fun. But only afterwards did I know that their definition of long form differs slightly from mine. In the sense that that long form may be like very realistic, very serious, very tragic theater in that sense.
Okay.
This might be a very simplistic description, by the way.
Yeah.
And in that sense, long form has a very different meaning from the UCB style or Harold or whatever.
Yeah.
And I think that is like there's so many discoveries still to be made. This art form is still so young, and I'm excited to see. Also, like from doing this online thingy, I've done like some, I guess you can call it like a role-playing game thingy.
Okay.
Where we played improvised characters for this this card game thingy. And
okay.
More diversity, I guess.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. Where do you want to send people? Plug. What do you want to plug?
Ooh. Hey, get in touch. I'd love to.
Just hit me up.
Yes. So I literally, because I want to say too, before I do the plugging thing, because having been the leader of a big, small group of people who grew into this big improv community that now hosts the Oslo Improv Festival and all other kinds of cool things, I have felt a lot of those pains that I know that a lot of other organizers, those initiative people who always is the one doing things such as you're doing with this video thingy, those people and that position can sometimes be very, very lonely, and sometimes you feel like you don't have anyone to talk to or talk with about these things. If that applies to you, please reach out, because I know that when I travel and I meet these people and can have these conversations, it is such a relief to meet someone who has experienced the same thing or something similar, and you have that moment where you go, hey, you know what, I'm not crazy, it's not just me. And that is I want to see more of that. So reach out if that applies to you, or if you just want to figure out what is the best short form game, I know. Discuss. And how do you do that, you ask? Because I'm really taking my time to get to the point. Look me up on Facebook, or check out Terje Improv. You can spell that with an O. With an O. Or I have made a website of my own. It is called terjebrevik.com.
Nice.
And if that is too hard to remember, just do this. Type in myname.com.
Nice.
Type in myname.com, and that will forward you to my website.
Literally, just type in my name. If I type in those letters, just type in yourname.com goes to you.
I will give me 8 seconds, and I'll show you. 8 seconds. Yeah. Just say go.
Go. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Wow, that was exactly 8 seconds.
Thank you. Let's see if this. I don't know if this. Let's see.
Just type in myname.com. Okay, I'm gonna put all those in the show notes below, of course. That's a nice image. It's a nice image. It's well done. I love it.
Yeah. And also, like, just support culture as much as you can these days. People are struggling, and it is kind of a sucky situation for a lot of performers and organizers and theater people and whatnot. So yeah.
Terje, Brev, thanks so much for being on the Improv. It's just such a delight to talk to you. You've got so much knowledge. We could talk for 8 hours, but we'll go ahead and wrap this up. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Hey.
Thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions about improv, please put them in the comments below to get notified about upcoming episodes. Subscribe to the Roland and Rich's YouTube channel and click the little bell icon below. Thanks, improvisers, and keep making each other look good.